Hey there everyone, thanks for clicking on this video. So we're going to talk to you today about our international relationship, right? So this is my husband, Eugene, and he is from
Ukraine.
Right, Ukraine, and we are currently in
Kiev.
Kiev, Ukraine. And I am from
Canada.
Yeah, I'm from Canada. I was born and raised in Canada, and I came over here about 6 years ago, right? 6 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. When we got together, it was kind of a fast marriage, right? You can say like shotgun, not exactly shotgun wedding. We got to know each other a little bit, but yeah. I came over here the first time because some friends invited me to a festival, kind of like spiritual festival in Odessa in the south of Ukraine, and my Eugene was there translating for the guest speaker that was there lecturing all of this. So he was kind of a friend of a friend, and he wanted to talk to me because he knew English, and I don't know, what was it? You wanted to practice your English? Or you felt some interest to talk to me?
Yeah, I felt some connection from the moment you entered the lecture hall and I was interpreting.
He's very sweet and romantic, right? Yeah. So he's my sweet romantic Ukrainian guy. Yeah, you know, coming over here, it was a lot of culture shocks at first. To come and move to Ukraine, like, especially as a young woman, because even now, I mean, and then, like, I think it's really not popular at all for young women to come over and, live as a foreigner in Ukraine. Like, most of the time, it's just these older guys who are looking for, young girlfriends or young wives who are coming over here to, do sometimes sex tourism also or whatever. Yeah, but it was hard for me, really hard for me at first, because I didn't know the language. It's a foreign culture, like there are a lot of cultural differences, and just a lot of different things, so yeah, it was hard for me at first, but over the years, it's like I've gotten used to it a lot more. Yeah. And, when I met Eugene, I looked at him and I thought he looks like a very honest face, very honest person. Yeah. And, I thought like he seems very caring, and he seems very, like he loves his mom a lot. So that's like, got before I got married, or before I like found someone to marry, which is Eugene, of course, I kind of had this list in my head, not exactly on paper, but I made this list in my head of, qualities that I wanted in a person. And one of the qualities was I want a guy who loves his mom a lot. Now that getting into the relationship, it was kind of like, be careful what you wish for, because there can be clashing between the in-laws also. But yeah, I that was one of the things I wanted, so that was kind of like a selling point for me, actually. Even though over the years there's been a lot of fighting between me and my mother-in-law, but it was like one of the things that I was really looking for in a guy, actually. Because I thought if a guy loves his mom, that usually means he's a good person. He's a good guy. Like, he's not a criminal or etc. But now that I'm older and I watch more TV and movies or real true stories, I realize that a lot of these criminal guys, they do really love their mom a lot also. They can really love their mother a lot also, right? Especially if it's a mafia family or something, right? Yeah. But the two of us, we kind of had a shotgun wedding, and what I mean is we met each other and we actually met each other. The event was hosted in a wedding hall, and there were actually 3 couples at that event that got married the next year. Or 3 couples that got together at that event that got married the next year. And in Ukraine, there's a superstition that, what is it?
Yeah, the way you celebrate New Year may determine your upcoming year.
Yeah, so this event was during New Year, just before New Year, and just finishing it finished just a few days after New Year, right?
Yes.
So 3 couples later on got married, and these 3 couples, like us and 2 other couples, we all had a fire yagya, so like a fire marriage ceremony together. So we all got married around the holy fire, and we had priests there doing the what do you call it, yagya, right?
Yeah.
Like saying all the mantras and everything there. So it's really like a holy union, which is like pretty much unbreakable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And during our wedding, we wore, kind of like Indian wedding dress. I had a wedding sari, red, which I found here from one girl who was selling saris. She just happened to have like the perfect sari. It was beautiful. And then for Eugene, I was really kind of fanatical. We went all around to fabric shops, and we found this, it was like tan linen, and on the outside it was kind of like gold, right? It was like gold, kind of gold painted, like printed gold on linen, and it was just like the most perfect thing we could find for his wedding costume, right? And then we bought all the trimming also. We took it to a seamstress here, and yeah, she made our wedding costumes. She made me like a petticoat, which is like the skirt that goes under the sari, and then she made me my blouse also, and she made him his his kurta, his pants for his wedding costume. And then yeah, we got married around the fire. I had to circle around him 3 times, right, in a few different circumstances. And then we had to garland each other, and we had to tie a lime, right, between our clothes.
Yeah.
The lime actually fell out, which is kind of a bad sign, yeah. But anyway, everything became okay. I feel like we're in a pretty good place in our relationship now, right? Despite all the ups and downs that we've had, I feel like we're in a pretty good place. Like, a lot of people say, like, or a lot of people just, I think they can't understand like how I'm living in Ukraine. Especially people from Canada. Like, I feel like many North American people, they have this feeling like, okay, only our country is the best, only Canada is the best, only USA is the best, and everywhere else is just like secondary. Or like, they also have, as for my family sometimes, or other people, I feel like they have this opinion that like, oh, all Ukrainians just want to move to Canada, or they all just want to move to US, and everyone is desperate to come here. And I feel like that's like a very North America centric idea. Like North America is the center of the world. It's really not. There are so many benefits to living over here, as a foreigner, as a Westerner. Um, and I feel like there are so many benefits to having this mixed marriage, kind of like East meets West. Wouldn't you say so? Yeah. Like we both, it's really cool and it's really nice to get a new fresh perspective on, all of your cultural baggage also. Like I feel like it really unravels all of that, like, and it makes you kind of more clear and more transient in a way. Like it it helps you see things differently, and it helps you, for me recently what I've been thinking about is like, who who are we without all of this media stuff, that we grew up with, you know who are we without all of that stuff, like, um yeah, like recently I was talking with a few girls about like the cartoons we used to watch when we were kids, and just like how people in my age and generation, even in Ukraine, they were basically watching the same like American cartoons over here, when they were kids. And it's just really interesting for me to see that because, it's like just how much US or, America or whatever has had influence on like the whole world like that. So, but it's like a question for me, like, who are we without these things, without all of these, like, advertisements and stuff, that we've had around. Anyway, it's just a way of becoming really, like, transient and kind of zen in a way. Like, one thing also about coming to live over here in a foreign culture is that I kind of like that in the beginning I couldn't really speak to people. It was really meditative in a way. Kind of lonely in another way, but really meditative in a way. Of course, with being in an international relationship, there can always be issues, with documents and stuff, Yeah. So all the paperwork is super tedious and annoying, and like the bureaucracy in Ukraine is like a lot of disorganization and a lot of like anti-organization also, isn't it? It's kind of like sometimes you can only get places just by like what I really like about Ukraine and Ukrainian people is that like they have a certain sense of humanity to them that like in the West people have really lost. Like I've lived in the UK also, and I lived in Canada, and I just know that people are really into the rules. People are really into following the rules, in Canada, and Ukraine. I mean, not in Ukraine, but like in the UK. They're really into following the rules. They always feel like big brother's watching them. They're like, they don't want to break any rules. They feel like they have no authority. They feel like just, um, all of that. But I like in Ukraine that people are a bit more free. I mean, not completely, but in some way people are more free. you know? Like they feel like they want to help their brother more than they want to just serve the king, or whatever. You know what I mean? So I really like that quality about Ukrainians. I wanted to come over here to Eastern Europe really because after, myself being in India for some time and also living a lot with Indian people, um, in Canada and in England, just I feel like I wanted a more like freestyle kind of life rather than just follow the rules and just like, bow your head to like complete government authority, because I feel like the West is kind of going to that route. You know what I mean? Anyway, we're here to talk about our relationship. So what would you say is the biggest challenge um, in our relationship? For you, if you feel comfortable to say anything that comes to mind. I don't know. Well,
Okay, let me think about it.
okay. Well, I mean, okay. Let me put it this way: what is the biggest culture shock about being with a North American woman?
First of all, yeah, I can't ultimately judge, but maybe there is a certain difference between the relationship of like parents and kids. So we know that in Ukraine, many kids, even after graduation, even after getting a job, they may still continue living with their parents.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and parents may even sometimes continue supporting them. Yeah, till the very end of their lives even.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned that before meeting me, you are not in such a close touch with your mom by phone. I was trying to encourage you to do that the way I did it with my mom.
Yeah, that's true. Like,
also Ukrainian parents are very overprotective. Yeah, maybe in a way controlling. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like there's that whole difference between more like Western and Asian. Like in Ukraine, it's a bit more like Asian kind of style. Like we were in China also, and we saw also how Chinese parents like really are invested in their kids. They have this kind of mentality like their kids are an investment, you know? So it's like they give a lot of time, energy, money, like everything into their kids. And so in Ukraine, there's a little bit of that mentality as well. Like, I've seen here, yeah. What I've noticed here is also, I don't know if it's just because it's like more dense, like more people per living area, but like I noticed that people here, there seem to be more kids around in general also. Like, as for me, I'm not from a very big city in Canada, and we live in the capital here also. Maybe that's why I notice it more, but like, I just feel like here there are like schools everywhere. There are academies everywhere, you know? Like in Canada where I'm from, we don't have that many facilities for kids, you know? And it's like even my high school that I went to, it like closed down the year after I left because they didn't have enough students. So it's like I feel like the population is kind of shrinking in Canada, maybe. Like that's why they want a lot of immigration coming. Yeah, but yeah, there are certain cultural things, but I appreciate the closeness of the children and parents in Ukraine. Like I feel like, I mean, my sister is still pretty close with my mom stepdad, my parents, but I feel like I was distant from them for other reasons, you know? Just my own kind of wanting to be free, but not everyone is like so distant from their parents in Canada, but many people are. And I yeah, you know, I have seen a lot. You know, now in the West we say like, oh, why are young people living with their parents till they're 40, you know? But I feel like that's a pretty normal thing maybe. Yeah, but in Ukraine, yeah, I have seen a lot of guys, which is surprising, like men especially, who are like living with their parents till they die, you know, and like never getting married and just like living with their parents till they die. But we know what I've noticed, and what your mom also remarked, was that in previous generations in Canada, people had more kids. Yeah. But here in Ukraine, it looks like no, right? Like maybe in the deep villages somewhere.
No, here too.
Here too?
Of course.
Yeah, but your mom, like, we can speak about your mom. She's, you know, considered now a senior citizen, and she has only one sister. But for Canada, this is unusual for older people to have.
Well, she had a brother also.
She had a brother also.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you know.
The same with my dad. Yeah, he had two brothers.
But you know, in Canada, like in previous generations, like my grandma, who's now more than 80, she had like 6 siblings or something like this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or like maybe she was one of 6 or one of 5. So, and my stepfather, he's the youngest of his siblings, but he had in total, there were 8 of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and for my mom's generation, she's almost 60 now, and she had 3 brothers, 1 sister, so 5 of them. And then my father, he also had in their family 4 children. So, you know, I think generally, I don't know, can't speak for everyone, but like.
Anyway, here it was post-war.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, true. That's true.
And the war was most devastating in this area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, before that there was a famine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Other disastrous things happened.
Yeah. Yeah, Ukraine has had a lot more calamity than Canada, for sure. Of course, in Canada, like, there were a lot of things, you know, like when Europeans came over, this whole like native genocide and all that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But if we speak about like the new world, the new Canada, it's like, I mean, you can kind of say that it's like there have been a lot of things that the British or like the white men have covered up. It's been a lot of like oppression of the native people and non-white minorities and all that, but, and even of French people. But anyway, yeah, so there's a lot to speak about. Maybe we'll make something more in another video sometime. We're already talking a lot here, so getting late, right? So anyway, that's just a little bit about our cultural mixed culture marriage, right? Okay, so bye till next time. See you.